Welcome everyone. My name is Angad. I'm one of the PMs at Sumo Logic. Today in this session, I will be talking about alert response, a feature that we launched last year. I will cover what we learned in the last 1 year after launching this feature and what we plan to do next. But before that, a little bit about myself. I'm a dad to a COVID baby. My son was born a couple of months before the pandemic. He's now 2 and is always on the move, which keeps me and my spouse really busy. With whatever time I have left, I'm also a PM for observability experience and the alerting team within Sumo. I've also worked on the log search and the data tiering capabilities within Sumo Logic. And before I was a PM at Sumo, I was a software engineer for a couple of years. For today's session, we are going to cover the following topics. We will give a brief overview of what alert response is, and so that people who are not familiar with it can learn about this feature. We will then talk about how we internally use alert response for monitoring and troubleshooting production issues at Sumo Logic. And finally, I will talk about the feedback that we have gotten from our customers and what improvements are we making to this feature. Okay. So let's start with the overview of the feature. Troubleshooting issues in production broadly falls into 3 main steps. The monitor steps, where a user gets notified about an issue. At this stage, they're trying to figure out what has happened. The top of the mind things are, is this a real issue or a fake? How severe is the issue? How many customers are impacted? And the biggest pain point is finding the information that can help you answer these questions quickly, right? So that you can get to the next stage. The next is the diagnose step. Here you want to gather information about anything abnormal that is happening in the system that might help you get to the root cause quickly. The top of the mind things are, what services are acting abnormally? What type of abnormality is being displayed here? And for that, you are looking for dashboard and other content to provide you the insights. Now, the biggest pain point is that someone needs to create and maintain that content, those dashboard searches for you. And in addition, you need to know where exactly to go to find those content. Right? The final step, if you navigate through this, is troubleshooting. Here you will review information gathered and start investigating further to find the root cause. So basically, the top of mind things are, which of the abnormalities are actually causing this issue, and how can I quickly eliminate them to get to my root cause? Doing this troubleshooting step effectively requires a lot of intuition and tribal knowledge, which takes time and hard work to develop, which is the biggest pain point of this step. So we designed the alert response feature to solve these pain points and make the troubleshooting workflow easier. The 2 things that this feature does is A, surfaces relevant information about the alert that helps answer some of these top of mind questions, like what triggered the alert, how severe it is, and so on. The second is it guides root cause analysis by surfacing abnormalities in the system related to the alert using ML and analytics. Right? And all of this happens out of the box when you set up monitors within Sumo Logic. Right? Let's dive a little bit deeper to get more details. When an alert gets triggered within Sumo, on-calls are directed to the alert page from the notification. Here, we give them basic information about the alert. What triggered, a visualization showing the trend of the alerting KPI over time, related alerts firing in the system, and the history of the past alerts. All this information will help answer what is happening. Is this a real issue, or how severe is the problem? And finally, we also show playbooks that admin might have configured for the alert. These playbooks can contain tribal knowledge that can help on-calls troubleshoot the issues more quickly and effectively. Right? The next, we provide alert context. This is system-curated insights that might help on-call engineers get to the root cause. Basically, we use AI and machine learning under the hood to analyze the data and surface abnormalities and other insights that might be related to this alert in form of cards that you see here on the screen. Right. So all of that sounds really good, but I'm sure you're wondering, how does this feature actually work in real life? Right? To answer this, I want to share how a IRC team within Sumo Logic uses this feature. Before I get into that, a little bit more about this team. The goal of the IRC team within Sumo is to monitor critical business KPIs and make sure that our service is up and running at all times. The team is chartered with identifying and reporting production incidents and outages impacting our customers. The team is also responsible for coordinating the incident response activities related to these outage incidents. Right? This chart shows on-call structure within Sumo Logic and how IRC fits into the overall picture. As you can see here, each team is responsible for monitoring the services that they own. They typically have a bunch of different alerts set up for this. IRC team cuts across these team boundaries and monitors critical business KPIs across the application. The idea is that this team will have a better understanding of the end customer impact, especially for wider issues that impact more than one teams. And the team will be better equipped to coordinate a response for these types of issues. This IRC team typically comprises of engineers, product managers, but it is also open to anyone who's willing to give it a try to being on call at Sumo. Right? Let's see how a typical day in the life of an on-call IRC on-call engineer goes in Sumo. And hopefully it's not like the meme on the right here. He will get a page about an issue, and in this case, this is a scheduled search failure issue. And he'll typically follow a checklist. In this case, he will try and see whether this issue is real or is it a false positive, how many customers are impacted by it, how big is the impact, what else is happening in the system, and are the other services healthy. And finally, he would want to know who all need to be involved in troubleshooting this incident, and he is responsible for creating an incident ticket for the postmortem later. So let's see how he does that. He will open up an alert to get more information about the issue. Looking at the query on the alert, seems like this got triggered when more than 50% of scheduled searches that were supposed to run in a particular window failed. The chart visualization shows that this issue happened only once before during that day. The on-call can quickly find the corresponding alert from the history to get more context of what happened during that time. He also sees from the monitor history that this alert only fired a couple of times in the last 30 days. This means that this alert is probably not flaky, and this is a real issue. Next, he looks at related alerts. Seems like there are other alerts for the scheduled search service that are active, which solidifies that this might be an actual issue. He also observes that other services within Sumo Logic are generating alerts, which means that the issue is impacting other services and might require involvement from those teams. Next, he will review the context card for an alert. In this case, the alert has only one context card called log fluctuation. It shows a bunch of different entries which look the same at the surface, but one of them is showing that a particular log pattern started appearing less often after the alert. 127 log messages after the alert compared to 202 log messages before. This looks suspicious and requires deeper troubleshooting. So he'll click on the signature to see the raw log messages associated with it. The log messages in scheduled search, the log messages is for the scheduled search task completion, which has gone down. He further analyzes these log messages to see which all customers are impacted the most by this failure by running a simple query. Seems like a bunch of the customers were impacted. Now that he has established basic information about the alert, he can come back to the alert page, open up the playbook, and figure out which teams need to be contacted for this issue. Right? Hopefully this gives you some insights on how to leverage alert response for troubleshooting needs. Right? And for the final section of the presentation, I want to share with you the feedback we have received and what improvements we have made and are planning on making in the future. There were three main things that we heard from our customers, such as yourself, over and over. The first one was a lot of users were not even aware of that this feature existed and didn't know how to get to the alert page. Second, users, especially within larger organizations with multiple teams, want an easy way to access alerts that they are responsible for, and we did not have that capability. Finally, users also found the playbook functionality very useful, but wanted richer capabilities supported in it in the future. So let's see how we address some of this. Right? Number one is we now have default payloads for all third-party connections that have a link to the alert page. This will allow you to access alerts right from the notification that you get in Slack or PagerDuty or whatever tool that you're using. If you have a connection that you created with a default payload, prior to this change, we are also automatically going to update those to include the alert ring. This feature has already been rolled out and you should be able to use it. Second is alert links for the monitors. User can open alerts from monitors directly. We realized that today a lot of customers are used to opening monitors from their alert notifications. So we want to make it easier for them to open alerts if they are on a monitor's page. If a monitor is currently firing, then a link to the active alert can be found on the monitor list page. This is the screenshot at the bottom. Alert history is also available for a monitor to view the current and historic alerts. This is the screenshot that you see on the right here. Both these features are also already delivered. Next is the alert list customization and badge. In order to easily find alerts that you care about, users can subscribe to monitors and only see alerts from those monitors by default on the alert list page. The screenshot on the right shows how to subscribe. On the left-hand side bottom, you also see how to customize the alert list page to only show subscriptions by default. Finally, users can also opt into notification badge to remind them about their open alerts. Right? This is the screenshot on your right bottom. This feature is in development and this will be rolled out in production soon. Finally, we also are planning on making enhancements to the playbook functionality. There are three major areas within playbooks that we are going to focus on. The first is ease of setup and use. We are going to add a WYSIWYG editor to make it easy to provide markdown-based formatting within playbooks. We will also auto-open playbooks for alerts where they are present, since users typically want to view this information right away. Finally, playbooks will also have better placement and real estate to improve viewability on the page. The next set of improvements is embedding Sumo content within playbooks. We want to greatly improve the experience of linking different types of Sumo contents in playbooks. We will make it easier for users to link content like dashboard and log search within playbook. We will also make it easier for them to navigate to these pages from within the playbooks itself. User will be able to pass in dynamic variables so that page loads with the relevant information pre-filtered. The last is standalone playbooks. We will also decouple playbooks from monitor creation so that users can manage them separately, either programmatically or via the UI. Users will also be able to reference these playbooks across multiple alerts. This feature is in development and will be rolled out in various phases over the next couple of months. With that, I think we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you liked what we covered today.